Consider this. What you attend to doesn't just shape your thinking, it trains it. And have you ever considered the value of your focused attention? In a world where information is everywhere, attention has become the scarcity, significantly increasing its value. It used to be that companies had to catch you at the right time in the right place. Now, the timing doesn't have to matter. They're always there, constantly competing for your attention. I've realized there are times when I open my phone unintentionally, almost out of habit, never intending on driving after something specific to focus on, but rather looking for something to take my focus elsewhere. I'm sure I can't be the only one who does this. I'm a firm believer that my attention is mine, but given this, I begin to question if it is entirely mine, as this habit begins to contradict that. But I ultimately have the choice to open my phone and begin my journey down the rabbit hole, right? I feel the ability to choose, yet I feel limited in the choices I have in regards to what I can consume. Scrolling through feeds and shorts feels like freedom of choice because nothing is forcing me to do it, yet there are unseen guide rails around everything I look at. I just wanted to check real quick can somehow turn into 30 minutes of scrolling. If my attention was truly intentional, would it really feel this repetitive? There's no reflection after the fact, yet it is something that can consume a lot of time very quickly. This is where it stops looking like choice and starts to reflect conditioning. Why are so many people developing the habits I speak of here independently of one another? This raises an alarm for me. I don't think that this outcome is solely on the individual. I think it's a part of something much, much larger. That millions of people are not choosing these actions, but being nudged into them by systems that have calculated and effectively implemented exactly how to steal our attention. Since all these companies are profiting from our attention, why would they ever leave it alone? There's no incentive to. In fact, I'd bet that they would be driven to want even more of it. After all, to control attention is to control thought patterns, and if you want to effectively influence someone, it is best to do so with favor and preference, rather than pressure. Have you ever paid attention to the content that gets you sucked into the trap? For me, it was a lot of exciting or irritating footage that rationalized my emotions. That's where it starts to get risky for me. I started getting used to my emotions running the show without thinking about them first. Now I'm raging traffic, furious for what feels like a justified reason, all because someone added 30 seconds to my trip. That's pretty thoughtless. Now that I'm raging, I'm rolling with that emotion for longer than I'd like to admit. So did I choose what I attended to, or just react to what emotion grabbed me first? Unfortunately, emotions can grab our attention much faster than our reasoning can evaluate it. It is easier to believe that we are in full control rather than being influenced. Everyone wants to be a thoughtful, independent individual, but that has some challenging implications. It means that we have the responsibility to check our emotions and understand them rather than rationalize them. We must avoid protecting our self-perceived identities, and in doing so, lean into the cognitive friction that comes from fully evaluating emotions before embracing them. And personally, this is one of my biggest challenges. If attention shapes our thoughts, then what kind of thinkers are we becoming? Do we think with a mind full of quick, shallow responses, or slow, thoughtful responses that create a depth of understanding? I'm not saying that every thought and emotion has to be measured with such magnitude. I'm suggesting that we should consider the thought patterns we build relative to what we feed our minds. That we are not in a fight against distraction, but in a war for our own attention and the freedom and clarity that comes with that. The real choice may not lie in what do I think, but rather where do I place my attention first. I think that's where critical thinking begins. If we treated our attention as our most valuable asset, wouldn't we actively guard it rather than passively spend it? I often challenge my thoughts and emotions this way. Is this conclusion mine, or is it the result of a rationalized emotion? Did reason bring me here, or did I fabricate a story to support my reaction? I'll leave you with this final thought. At what point should thinking ever mean defending?